And we are live.
We are live.
So let's see here.
Just wrapping up my notes.
Tim has a wheat. Oh, a non-THC. Okay. IPA. Oh, and then one that might have alcohol in it.
I might get to the bonus. We'll see.
Depending on how bad the NA beers are.
I mean, I had all three yesterday, and they're not too bad.
Okay.
So I'm not going to bash on anything, but definitely not as good as, say, your standard.
Don't ruin the surprise, Tim.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Burning good content. It's gold, Jerry.
For all those people listening right now.
Yeah.
Oh, live. I'm not on live. Wait. See, I had to sign in via my YouTube, not via some other account because I was on a different browser, so I don't know if I see the chat or not.
Inside of StreamYard?
Oh, live comment. There it is. Okay, I see live comments now.
Cool. Okay, let me
Where's Audacity? Put you over here. Close you.
Test.
Hello.
I'm just doing this for myself.
For your board.
Because I just
your new board.
Setting it up.
Pretty new board.
It looks pretty nice.
It's a pretty board.
All the channels work again.
I've been trying to set up smart plugs in my room in here, but I ran out of time. I want to get all the lights and the fan so I can just be like, turn off the fan and then record 4B and I don't have to get up.
You could be like, time to podcast, and the lights change color, the fan turns off, and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my colored gaming nerd lights do not. They're not smart. They're just.
What kind of lights are they?
It's just like a cheap LED string light that I got from IKEA. I have it running in the desk, so it gives everything like an ambient glow.
So you could probably hook it up to like a plug, but you couldn't.
I do have it on the smart plug, yeah, but I can't change color on it.
Yeah, I've got a huge strip. They're very expensive. I think a 10-foot strip is like $65.
Yeah, this was like 20. So
yeah, but it's. I mean, again, it's smart, and it's a Philips Hue light, and it works very well. I don't need it. I have it like behind a bookcase that's just under the window in the living room. It's more of an accent light, but still nice to have.
Yeah, I have a hodgepodge of stuff, but Google Home has made it where you can pretty much use everything together really well. So since I use Google Assistant as my front end for it, like it doesn't really matter what should I buy as long as it works with Google Home.
I got a free Google Home Mini, or now it's a Nest Mini, just for being like a YouTube premium person. They're like, hey, you want a free one? I was like, okay.
If you're not if you don't have any use for it, I'll take it.
No, I have it in the bedroom. So now we have Google in every room and Alexa in every room. So,
shit.
We've got all the microphones spying on us from all the services except for Apple. I don't have a HomePod.
You have you said you have the Wiretap Mini, right?
The who?
The Wiretap Mini?
No, the Google Nest Mini.
Oh,
got it. Got it.
Dude, I was kind of looking at I know it's rich people shit, but I was reading the review of that Sonos soundbar on The Verge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it sounds kind of dope. It's got like Dolby Atmos, so it has the up-firing speakers. It gives everything volume. It sounds rad. But it's like $800.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Compared to if I wanted to get like a regular receiver and speakers everywhere, it's not that bad. And it gets rid of having to run cables and shit all over the room because it's all one unit.
Right. Hang on a second here.
I have a pair of the S1s, the Sonos S1s. They're really handy, but then I guess they recently did a whole software update that I haven't applied. So I'm like, something about they released a new app and some major like software updates to them that you're required to use like a legacy app or something. I'm not too keen on it, but the speaker themselves work really well and they sound nice.
That's cool. I never got into Sonos. It was it's always been expensive, and then when they got in the whole smart home thing, like I was already invested in other stuff. It's like the same reason I don't have a HomePod. Siri's bad enough on iOS and whatever, like every other Apple product as it is, and as good as the hardware is on the HomePod, like they sound good and the microphones are incredibly good. I just don't have a use for it, especially since it came out first at $350. Like, and now they took they took $50 off. So it's $299 now. And I think you can find them on sale anywhere from $200 to $250 on any given day. So
yeah, I just we just use the speaker to like stream music. That's pretty much its only use in our house.
that's the only thing we don't use ours for. We like me and Yvonne like the same music, but we don't like the same music enough to want to listen to it together. So we just avoid it. Even in the car, it's like we have a certain number of bands that we can listen to before we want to rip each other's faces off, because it's like yeah. Youth on Glory is one of those bands.
There's the John CD book, the Yvonne CD book, and then the one CD in the center that's a mix that you guys can listen to together.
Right. It's never thought it would be that way, but here we are. Okay, are you guys ready to begin?
I believe so.
Is everyone recording?
No.
No. Yes.
Did we need to like start at the same time or clap or anything, or are you all good?
No, as long as you're recording.
Okay, hold on. Let me do a little. I'm the scat man. Okay, I think we're good. I just had to tell
do you think that guy do you think that guy really loved eating shit? Like
Scat man?
Yeah, like he just like
come on.
That was just his thing, and like he's just like, no, it means to talk really fast. And he's like, nah, you know what it means.
Oh man.
Shit. Okay.
Got me shit.
Here we go. Welcome to Four Brewers. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I'm joined by
Jason Harris
and Tim Mather.
And Greg will not be joining us today. He's coming back from a fun-filled family trip in his new, I guess it's a camper. It's not a fifth wheel. It's like a trailer that he just picked up. And he was out camping. I think he bought it at the beginning of the week. They went out on like a Wednesday or a Tuesday, and then he just got back today. So he's recovering from the camping trip.
That's pretty magical.
That thing looks cool, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I have space for that, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't use it enough. Greg goes out and camps a lot, though.
I think it was on Facebook, Armando Garcia was asking about it because he's like, man, now I want to get one. And I think Greg is paying like $165 a month for it, which sounds amazingly cheap. But yeah, I would have nowhere to put it either, especially since I live in a homeowners association. Like that's just a non-starter. Like it's
just park it on the front lawn.
Yeah, right. And they're supposed to have a designated spot for us to put things like that, but they don't because ours is stupid. And yeah, that's getting off into homeowner bullshit. But before we start the show, I want to give a shout out to 3 new patrons that we picked up in the last week. Again, everything that we're making on Patreon this month, and as well as donations through PayPal, which we got one through PayPal also, we're donating all of those to Black Lives Matter related causes. We've got a couple narrowed down, at least I do. One is the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, and then the other one is the Equal Justice Initiative. So we might split it between the two. We might send it to one. We'll see. But for the time being, everything that we make this month, we're going to donate to Black Lives Matter related causes, like I said, and the more patrons we get, the more money we'll have coming in for this month, and the more we'll get to donate. So quick shout out to John Campbell. I think I spelled his name wrong here. Hold on. I'm going to start that over again. I know I spelled his name wrong. Paulson. That's it. So shout out to John Campbell, John Paulson, and Joe the Gnome. Joe the Gnome was previously a supporter of ours on Patreon, and he left for a little while due to some issues with the internet, which I'm not going to get into. And he's back now. So thank you to all three of those people for supporting us. It really means a lot right now, especially since, everything that we're going through with COVID-19, although it seems like that just magically disappeared. We can get into that later if we want to. But people being unemployed and like all the chaos happening right now, it's really cool that people are still going out of their way to throw some money our way. And like I said, everything this month is being donated to Black Lives Matter related causes. And we've also got another review on Apple Podcasts. This is from Mr. TCS8. And I kind of chuckled when I read this because it's so true. The title is Very Entertaining, 5 stars. And it says, if you're looking for a podcast focused on homebrew, then be sure to subscribe to this one and then continue looking because you won't get much of that here.
Fucking nailed it.
So I read that part and I'm like, oh no, but he gave us 5 stars, or they gave us, it's Mr. So yeah, it's probably a he. But then it continues and says, what you will get is an entertaining podcast about craft beer. The audio quality is top notch and the discussions, knowledge, and beer reviews are great. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sweet Mr. TCS. I believe I've seen him around our Discord.
Yes, the name looked familiar. So this is a perfect example of a critique of a podcast while still leaving a good review and giving 5 stars. It's, I don't think this person meant any ill will by saying it's a cool joke that they made. But at the same time, it does speak to how much less homebrew we have on the show, which again is something I'm going to be working on, and there will be more homebrew.
I will not be doing more homebrew. Letting you guys know in advance.
I've got I still have my blonde. I should bring that for the next show, and then I got a couple more kits to get started with too.
Yeah, the last I saw of your blonde, the carb wasn't quite where it should be.
Yeah,
so...
I mean, it was my first time brewing again in like many months. So
you just use like the carb?
I wasn't expecting much. It tastes great. It's just a little What?
Just finish your thought.
Sorry, I missed that. I was just going to say it tastes good, but the carb was definitely not there.
Yeah. Did you use those carb tabs? Like the little like
the little like
things?
Throat lozenges.
Okay. Huh. Maybe you should just give it another couple weeks. I don't know. Did you put all the beers in the fridge already?
No, they're still sitting in the cabinet.
Okay. Well, maybe it'll get a little more carb. We'll see. But yeah, definitely. If you bring a homebrew next week, then I have a homebrew that it's been in the fridge for a couple weeks that I'll share too. So, and it's like 6 years old. So we'll see how it held up. So, today we don't really have a theme for the show. We all just kind of brought our own stuff to the table. Tim, I guess Tim has a theme. He's drinking mostly non-alcoholic beers, which is kind of cool. And so since he is drinking non-alcoholic beers, I also brought a non-alcoholic beer just to kind of have some kind of cohesion with Tim. And then this morning I went and bought some beers for myself for the show. And while I was out, I bought something special that I then took to Jason's house. So me and Jason have a beer in common. Me and Tim have a theme in common.
I've poured that one. We need to talk about it. So you need to open one too.
Okay. So the beer, I guess you can call it a beer. It's a malt beverage, I guess. This is Pabst Blue Ribbon's hard coffee. Ever since I saw this come out, I was inclined to try it. The first thing I thought of was like a Starbucks coffee latte thing that's loaded with the sugar that you can buy at like a liquor store or a gas station.
Oh my God. Look at that.
Yeah, it is milky. It looks like one of those like Starbucks like mochas that you buy in a bottle. It's like a light tan milky carrot. Is it? I don't know if it's carbonated.
It looks like
chocolate.
It looks like chocolate milk. It looks like chocolate milk, and it sticks to the sides of the glass like chocolate milk. Like this is loaded with milk.
Yeah, there's a lot of dairy in this, I guess.
Before we get into it, though, Tim, what are you going to start with?
Sure. I am starting with a beer from. So you're gonna have to help me with this because I've heard it both ways, and you're in their run club. Is it Mikkeller? I always hear Mikler or McKellar.
It's just Mikler.
Mikler. There we go. See, I had the wrong pronunciation on there. So I got a Mikler. It's Drink in the Sun. Where's my cam? There it is. It's this really cool can. I love their artwork. It's a 0.3 ABV. It's an American style wheat ale, which is pretty solid. Does
yours look like chocolate milk? No, not even a little bit.
No chocolate milk on here. This one's nice and clear, very golden. It's when it pours with a pretty decent head. It's very well carbonated looking at it. It looks like it's going to be super crisp and super refreshing. This one's straight imported from Belgium. And when I was looking for it on Untapped, I actually found they make it in a few different ABV levels. So there's a 0.3, a 1.4, and a 2.5, which is kind of interesting.
Huh.
That is interesting. I want 2.5 is kind of like, it's low enough that you're not going to really get drunk from it, but it's also not like, well, I don't drink, right? It's a weird spot to be.
It's like they give you different options.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's like they give you different options because as the alcohol gets lower, I think the beeriness of it probably degrades as well. And so they give you room to compromise. Like, you don't want a 5% beer, but you want to crush 10 2.5% beers at the river or something. So it's going to, it's compromised for, I guess, taste and flavor. That's my assumption. I don't know. But
I have a wheat on deck, but I already poured this coffee thing.
So should have lined that up better.
Well, yeah. So I'm going to take a smell of this coffee thing. Oh, that smells like chocolate. That's just straight chocolate.
It really does smell like Nesquik. It says something about it having whipped vanilla cream in it.
It says malt beverage with natural and artificial flavors, contains milk, Pabst Blue Ribbon, hard iced coffee with a dash of milk. A dash. Yeah, that's not a dash.
This tastes like Yoo-hoo.
This Java brew balances a rich creamy blonde. Oh, it's a rich creamy blend with a whipped vanilla flavor. It's in handwriting.
Rich creamy
script.
blonde were your Pornhub keywords.
Rich creamy blonde.
I feel like I heard good things about this outside of it just being weird. I'm curious to hear what you guys say.
It tastes like Yoo-hoo. Okay. Straight up. Just doesn't taste like there's alcohol in it. It just tastes like Yoo-hoo.
I never had Yoo-hoo. I've had plenty of Nesquik drinks, but I never had Yoo-hoo.
I mean, any kind of chocolate milk kind of drink, that's pretty much what it tastes like. It's you can't. I mean, I don't get a cream. Okay, it has a soft mouthfeel and it's creamy for its softness, but I don't get a whipped cream flavor per se. The
vanilla comes through for sure.
Yeah, it's like chocolate milk pretty much. I wonder what the base is for this.
To be honest.
I get a little bit of a burn on the back of my throat, actually, I think, from the alcohol. That's kind of...
I would expect more coffee. It says coffee in big letters on the outside, and it really just tastes like... But again, it does taste like those Starbucks,
You got to define coffee for the masses.
Yeah. There's no roasty character or any of those elements that you get, though. Normally when you get coffee in beer, you're getting a dark roastiness, some and flavors in that level. There's not that. This is all sweet. This is for people who love sweet milky things.
You're getting Beastie Boys coffee up in here.
That's right. I like my sugar with coffee and cream.
Exactly.
I don't know if after I let it sit for a while, I do get a touch of roast on it, similar to what you'd get from a Starbucks espresso, coffee blender thing in those little tiny cans. And the heat does come through. It's only 5% ABV, but it comes through. I think because I've had these kind of drinks before, and I normally don't get that warming alcohol feeling. I don't associate that with sweet coffee drinks. So like I said, I do get a little bit of a tingle on the back of my throat, but that's if you're really overanalyzing this thing. If you want to just crush these, I would guess this is a smaller can. This is I want to say it's like a
Red Bull.
Yeah, it's probably close to 12 ounces, but it's a tall, skinny can. Let me see.
I think it is 12 ounces. It just is one of the skinnier, like fashion cans or whatever. I don't know.
But I would guess this can is probably 250 to 300 calories at least. Like once you factor in the alcohol content for, caloric content and all of the sweetness and the sugar and whatever flavors they're adding.
It's a lot too. Like I finished it. It was good, but it's like, again, it's like having a glass of chocolate milk. I couldn't imagine sitting and having a couple of these.
245, John.
It's 245 calories.
Is it 5% ABV?
Yep.
Yeah, then that's it. I just found it.
Yeah,
sounds about right. It's a lot. It's a lot of sugar. It's 11. It's an 11-ounce can apparently. But
yeah.
Well, I think what I expected from this is what I got. I wanted one of those like Starbucks espresso shot drinks, and that's what I got. The weird thing about this is, though, I could see myself drinking this in the morning, and obviously I can't because it's like drinking a beer in the morning. So, I mean, as far as like I can't drink it in the morning and go to work kind of thing. But that's
what I'm saying. It doesn't. It seems like a morning drink, but like. Morning beer isn't part of my routine. I drink a lot of beer, but morning beer is not it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's probably falling more into the novelty side of things than a standard drinker. Because is this something that they're continually producing, or was it like a limited
I mean,
thing?
I don't know if it's limited, but it's been out for at least I don't know.
I'd say a year.
Like a year or more. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure they'll keep making it until people stop buying it.
Yeah, exactly. This NA wheat is actually really refreshing. The carbonation on it's really nice. It's crisp. I mean, it tastes just like a somewhere between a blonde and a wheat. I'm not getting too much of the like I want to say like clovey, weedy hef sort of things, but it is more like a wheat ale and less of a hef. So it's really nice. It's definitely not hitting super hard with any sort of hop character. Because I don't expect you to be in that realm, but it's really nice. This is something like if you're looking for something really refreshing on a hot day, but don't want to obviously have the alcohol side of things. This is pretty. I put this in as a very good replacement. And when I was looking for some of these NA beers, I didn't even realize that Mikler did it. I saw it pop up and I was like, oh, that's cool. And in my research, they actually have a handful, which is kind of cool.
What's the body like on it?
I mean, it's it's not water, but it's definitely pretty. It's a
thin.
Little. Yeah, I mean, it's thin. I think the carbonation helps it feel. The carbonation definitely helps feel like water. It's not bubbly like say a Topo Chico or LaCroix, but it's also not in the realm of just drinking some sort of completely uncarbonated beer beverage. It definitely leaves a little bit of a bitter in my mouth, which is kind of cool too. So it gives you all the characteristics that you're looking for. It
sounds like if you're drinking it in context, meaning it's 0.3% ABV, you're willing to forego some of the quality you'd get from a regular like 4.5% wheat beer. So
yeah, for sure. And like I said, I could see it being a really decent replacement. And I've had a handful of non-alcoholics outside of these three that I have today. So this one's definitely stacking up there pretty high out of the ones I've had.
Yeah, BrewDog has a non-alcoholic IPA called Punk AF. And which there's some drama behind that. I think they actually stole that branding from an employee that came up with it, and then they fired her and they didn't give her credit for it. But that's a whole other thing. I'm not sure what came of that. But whoever came up with the name, like Punk AF, like that's such a great double entendre. Like punk alcohol free and then punk as fuck. Like it works so well. But and I have yet to try anything from BrewDog since they came to the United States because somehow we don't get it over here in Southern California, even though they're in Ohio. So I don't know.
And they're a kind of a shitty company, so I don't like to buy their stuff.
Yeah. Well,
politics.
So I poured my wheat beer now so I could fit in with Tim. And it is old standby that I haven't had in a long time. It's an urban wheat, which I find hilarious. When I look it up on Untapped, apparently the official name is 312 Urban Wheat Ale.
It's actually 312 because it's an area code. Area codes. Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, I know Goose gets crapped on a lot, but I think the 312 is pretty solid. It's like it's a good go-to. It's
I bought this beer because when we did the Hefeweizen or the wheat beer show, I just bought a bunch and it's been hanging out in my fridge, so I figured it's a good excuse to drink it. So I mean, it looks, like a cloudy kind of generic wheat beer. Still have a little bit of chocolate smell in my cup.
Yeah, that's one of those beers that got shipped off to New York to get brewed when Goose Island was purchased by AB InBev. So, I mean, a lot of the hardcore, diehard Goose fans are like, "Yeah, it's definitely changed." Which you would, I would expect it to change because they're brewing it on a massive scale now, and that's just what it's going to become. But at the same time, Goose, as far as their barrel program and the smaller brew pubs and stuff, they're still putting out, craft quality stuff that can't be denied that Goose still makes really good beer.
So this beer is how I remember it, which is to say really unremarkable and not very good.
Yeah.
Which is how it was before they got bought. And it's just an unremarkable beer. It's an American style wheat. There's no yeast character to it whatsoever. So there's a little bit of wheat in there. So you get that body. And then the flavor is really, really light. It might as well be a blonde ale or something else like that. There's just not really much character to it at all.
I mean, the whole thing behind 312 is basically the branding. Like, they have a whole festival that revolves around it, like a music festival that is pretty popular. People see that beer and they just think, I'm familiar with that, I'm going to buy it. So, I mean, the recipe has to be a quality beer, but it doesn't have to be anything that's going to blow your socks off,
It's like a hometown pride sort of thing, I'm sure.
Sure.
Yeah, which definitely is why everyone else has successfully taken that model too. I mean, 805 blew up.
What was 913? Wasn't that Golden Roads? Didn't they have a 913?
No, their whole thing was like 300 and it's like the sun, days of sunlight in LA or some shit.
I think it was 318 is what it was, I believe.
Yeah, it was like there's 318 days or something. Yeah.
Because they were too bitch made to pick an LA area code and stick with it. Like
they knew they weren't going to be an LA brewery for long.
They were over there like, we could call out 818, but all the 213 guys are going to really fucking revolt, not buy it.
No, we don't have to worry about the 310s because they're not coming over here.
Right.
Those 424s.
So I don't have a wheat beer or anything light that I was planning on opening, but the NA beer, the non-alcoholic beer that I did get, is from Untitled Art.
Cool.
Untitled Art is a brewery. They collaborate with a lot of other breweries. I don't know if this is a collab, actually. It doesn't say it is. But they usually feature art from different artists on their labels, which is really cool. The one on this can is from Stephanie Heyman. And I can't really tell what it is. It's brown and I don't know. It looks cool. But this is a chocolate milk stout. And this is less than 0.05% alcohol by volume. And yeah, I did not know they made NA beer. I was going to buy something like generic, whatever, like some non-alcoholic mass market macro beer that I've never had before. But the problem is you could only buy like a 6-pack or a 12-pack. And I really don't want to buy a 6-pack of NA beer. I mean,
the Heineken 00 is actually, I think, pretty damn close to the regular Heineken. I've had that one.
It's easily the best one of all the NA beers. Every dry January, we drink a lot of Heineken 00.
I also had the Pabst, is it Liberty, I think, is like Pabst NA. I think it's called like Liberty Ale or something. Yep.
I don't know if I've actually seen that one. I've seen Coors. What is theirs called? It's called like Sharps or some shit like that. The NA Coors.
I mean, so I started researching a bit more back when I decided to kind of start rotating more NA into my repertoire, and I was surprised at how many breweries I haven't heard of that focus on it, and B, how many breweries that I know at least have one or two that they've done. So it's kind of surprising.
There's a question in the chat. Is NA beer low calorie? I would say no. Most of the ones I've seen don't advertise themselves as such, and they tend to leave residual sugar in there to replace the alcohol, which doesn't help. So most of them aren't.
Yeah. Going back to the Heineken 00, I did a review on that on our YouTube channel, and that's our most popular video. And
Oh, that's awesome.
it's and in the video, I wasn't even being a snob about it, but there's a lot of negative comments like accusing me of being a snob. All I said was like, yeah, I haven't had Heineken in a while, but if I did, I think this would probably taste pretty damn close to Heineken. Like it's pretty convincingly good.
Yeah.
Like, and meaning Heineken is kind of thin and it's kind of a garbage beer. And I guess that's how I'm being snobby, but Heineken 00 tastes like a thin garbage beer in a good way though. It like has that Heineken flavor to it. And I think they really pulled it off well. But yeah, I just found it interesting that out of all the videos I've done, that the Heineken 00 is the most popular one.
Well, so the 00 is 60. I think I just read 69 calories for Heineken 00. In comparison, I've got my next one here from a place in San Diego called Two Roots. This is their straight drank. This one's 120 calories, and this is one of those like weird sort of 12-ish, like 12-ounce sort of like Red Bull cans.
Yeah, that says, let's see, on your notes here, it says Two Roots and Jelly Extracts.
Yeah, so
is that like a collab or something?
Yeah, so where's this? Natural terpenes. So it's so I've had some one other thing from Two Roots before, and then I started digging and I learned that they're actually owned by Two Roots is actually owned by a cannabis company, and the majority of their beers, it looks like, that they put out are actually THC infused, and so the ones that I've gotten have not been. So this one right here is with Jetty Extracts, which is like a cannabis THC extract company.
Oh, and Jetty. So, I read jelly.
No, Jetty.
Yeah, I thought you said JLA. I was like, I think it's Jetty, John. I don't know.
I thought this. So I was like, is it made with jelly extracts? Like, what is?
No. So Jetty Extracts is a THC extracts and like all the different things you can make from it sort of company, and it looks
makes
like
so much more sense now.
Yeah, and it looks like they did some cannabis terpene infusion into this to get it more of a danky sort of feel. Nice. I haven't had any of their THC infused things, so I can't really relate it to that. Apparently, there's a version of this that is, but this is out of San Diego. If I didn't mention that.
Okay. Like I said, I'm opening. I opened this chocolate milk stout from Untitled Art, and when I first poured it, the head was quite bountiful, but then it really quickly went away. Very similar to like pouring a can of soda. Like it was just instantly gone. It was big and fluffy, and then just boom, gone.
Wait, were you just holding it up? Is that still
it?
Whoa, it looks a lot different after it settled.
Yeah, I mean, I could still.
Unlike the last beer, which was not called chocolate milk anything, but it looked like chocolate milk.
Oh, okay. I got mixed up. I thought you were talking. Which one's that you're having right now?
This is the Untitled Art NA beer.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I thought you were still picking up the Yoo-hoo. I was like, weird. It totally settled.
No, okay. So the Pabst Blue Ribbon tastes like chocolate milk. Pabst Blue Ribbon hard coffee, and this is a chocolate milk stout. So see where I'm going. I could probably do some blending here if we want to, but it tastes okay. It kind of smells like dark chocolate and cola, which isn't necessarily bad, but doesn't smell great. And it's very thin. It leaves kind of like a dark chocolate bitterness on your tongue, as if you were to take like baker's chocolate and eat it, like you did when you were a kid, thinking like, look at all this chocolate I can eat, and then you immediately regret doing it. That's kind of the same feeling you get when this, finishes on your palate. It's like super dry, super thin, and almost has like a cherry character on the flavor, which I think is interesting. I don't get, maybe it's because I had that PBR hard coffee that was super, super like, rich and chocolatey and milky, but I don't really get that from this. if it's a chocolate milk stout, they probably could have added more lactose to it if that's what they're referring to as a milk stout, because it could use more body, it could use more sweetness, it could use a little more character, I think, on the flavor, and it's just not there. But it's okay for what it is. I mean, if you're looking for a non-alcoholic chocolate milk stout, I guess this is not that bad.
I'm down a rabbit hole looking at the Two Roots company. They have a bunch of interesting looking NA beers. Sounds cool. I'm like, might order some of those.
Yeah, I had their, I think it's like mango, Durango, dango, some mango rhyming with some other word that has a D. I don't remember. I'm sure you'll see it there. I had that one previously, and honestly, it was like kind of drinking a artificially sweetened mango liquid with a tiny bit of like hop character. It was not great in my opinion. But I did this one. So the straight drank one here is it's not the greatest thing. You get more hop character in it. It's got a decent little like bite to it. The mouth feels pretty good, but it is a little thin.
I think the concept of this beer, in your notes, it said it's a similar thought to Lagunitas Hi-Fi hops, which correct me if I'm wrong. Lagunitas Hi-Fi hops isn't a beer; it's just a cannabis-infused NA beer kind of thing. Am I right about that? Like the cannabis is the spin on it, I guess.
Yeah. So apparently, Two Roots, it looks like they make NA beers only, and then they make THC infused versions of all of them. So you can get NA beers or beers with THC in them, which, all right.
Okay, well, then that kind of answers my question, because I'm just like, is this something they were just trying for fun, but turns out this is their actual business model? So,
yeah.
Okay.
So Two Roots, Two Roots is an all NA. There are several all NA breweries that I've checked out. This one and my next one are both all NA.
Have you tried Athletic at all, Tim?
No, but it's on my list. I get ads for them everywhere. So they
seem like they really did a good like PR blitz. They got everywhere for a little while. Pretty good though. Not amazing. It's still not gonna be like, oh, I'd rather drink this than a regular IPA, but they're in the upper tier for NA beer for sure. Oh. John's putting the Pabst Yoo-hoo into the NA beer.
So now this is probably 1.5% ish.
I'm just picturing The Hangover where all the numbers are spinning around his head. And he's like, if I poured 1 ounce of Pabst at 5% alcohol by volume and 3 ounces of this.
Oh, that didn't help. No, it was too much. It was too much.
No.
I have found that the next, I'll get to it in a minute, but the next brewery that I have, I had their stout, their coffee stout. And I believe that out of everything I've had, that was one of the better ones. And I think it's partially because you can get away with more because you have that like coffee sort of roasty flavor to help cover up any sort of like lack of other things.
Right. Well, thus far, these haven't been great beers that I've had. This 312 is pretty whack. You know what? I have high hopes for this one. We're going into a newer, better place with newer, better beers.
Excellent. I will say, you go ahead.
I picked up a Sierra Nevada hoppy mix pack from the grocery store, and relatively fresh for Sierra Nevada. It's from April, so not too bad. This is the 40th anniversary hoppy anniversary ale.
Ooh,
we've had that on the show. Maybe you weren't here for it.
No, I believe I was, and I liked it.
So you're just going there again.
Yeah, I don't care.
I thought that beer was okay. I think it's just like an amped up version of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Like that's how it comes off. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't mind it. I love Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. So I thought the beer was good. They didn't try to do anything too outlandish. They're 40-year-old brewery. They kind of stuck to their roots, and I think it works well in a mix pack.
Yeah, it just tastes like pale ale, but yeah, like amped up pale ale.
Yeah,
Pretty good though.
it's fine, you know. So I'm going back to alcohol, and I'm getting away from the coffee and the milk stouts and that. And I'm opening a beer that's a collab between Bottle Logic and Great Notion. This is Cosmic Duality.
Oh,
This is a tart ale made with mango, peach, coconut, vanilla, lactose, and the kitchen sink. Whatever else you can throw in there.
that sounds fantastic.
I got this from my homie Jeff, who has a YouTube channel called Let's Have Some Beer. So thanks, Jeff. I actually got this as a trade for the Pliny for President that I gave him. So that's what I'm opening. Let's see. What's the ABV on this? It's probably like 10 or something. No, it's only 5. Wow. It's a low ABV beer. Sweet.
That label is so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's
It's
got
very,
like
very new. It's very new Star Wars trilogy branding.
yeah, like with the red and the blue, it's kind of like the lightsaber, like good versus evil kind of thing. You got some
there's like-
planets on there, and
There's like kind of a blue black hole looking swirl, and then like a red, like a Jupiter looking planet, maybe. Yeah.
yeah.
For those not watching the video, which is most,
The label on here, like the logo for Bottle Logic and Great Notion, it's like a raised white print with a silver background, so it kind of blends in with the silver, aluminum can
nice.
thing. So I mean, it looks really cool. So what's up next for you, Tim?
Next up for me, I've got one more of the non-alcoholics with me. I've got an IPA. This is coming from Bravas. Bravas Brewing. This is one of those places that also does all non-alcohol. It's a 0.5%. And I've had a few things from them. I don't think I've had the IPA yet, but so this will be the first time on that one. They do have some more stats as opposed to some of the other places. They say this one's brewed with Simcoe, Amarillo, Citra, and Mosaic hops. So you got a nice hop bill there. And they say that, they have some sort of proprietary brewing method, so you'd never really miss the alcohol, which, I mean, I beg to differ, but we'll see.
Interesting. They're making a statement, right? They're like, yeah, these are the hops we used, and it's going to be just as good as any other beer made with Mosaic, which I agree.
How do we know you didn't get the onion Mosaic?
So I had this one yesterday because I was just previewing before the show, so I knew what was going on. And the aroma coming off is it's not very appetizing.
Really? Is it oniony?
I can't really describe it. It doesn't. No, not oniony, but it's definitely got like a sweeter sort of.
It seems like you're struggling to pull some kind of aroma out of it, which isn't good for an IPA made with all of these hops.
I feel like I struggle with aroma in general. I blame my nose.
No, I know what you mean. I have the same issue with smelling beers, but the thing is, when a beer is packed with hops and like the brewers have done a good job of like preserving the nose, you can tell. And with them like bursting out of the gate saying, thanks to a proprietary brewing method, you'd never guess it's non-alcoholic, and they use all these hops, it's kind of like, okay, bro, like cool your jets a little bit.
I've moved on because the Sierra Nevada beer was kind of a letdown, but luckily I didn't pour a full glass of it. So I have one more save the best for last beer, but I want to hear Tim's thoughts on the taste on this Bravas guy.
So it's this one out of the other two. This one is more on like the sweet side, which I know, Jason, you mentioned like, the residual sugars
warty,
and things
right?
that tend to be in there. Yeah. That's a really good.
It tasted like a homebrew that you're tasting in the fermenter that isn't done attenuating yet. You're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good beer one day, and it just they didn't ferment it.
Yeah. That actually, when you say that, that's kind of, I feel like the aroma, now that you mention that, is kind of like you're smelling the wort, but it almost has a little bit of like an astringent sort of feel, I think, to the nose. And yeah, the flavor's there. I mean, it's you can get some hop character out of it, but not in the way that you would expect from an IPA. It's definitely more muted, and it does feel kind of, I'd say, unfinished.
Yeah, and I've had that problem with NA beer in general. Like most of the NA beers I've tried, they leave in a bunch of sugar, and I'm just like, no, I don't want sweet. Like I know alcohol gives you a bit of perceived sweetness, but these end up being much sweeter and more cloying and
Well, the perceived sweetness you're getting from the alcohol is also balanced by the dryness that you're also getting from the alcohol. Like it's more of a sweet flavor and not like a cloying sweet leftover sugar kind of thing. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these NA beers, like especially the ones that try like this one that I had, the chocolate milk stout. It looked like a milk stout. It kind of smelled like a stout. It had some roastiness to it, but the body was just not there. And it finished ultra dry. And then the IPA, like, yeah, it doesn't quite have the aroma, which isn't necessarily an alcohol thing. But everything else about the beer is just kind of a letdown. And when it comes to like the Heineken 0.0, I think the reason why that is so quote unquote good is because Heineken isn't that complex to begin with. So you're starting with a beer that's already kind of basic, and you just have to meet that basic baseline, which I know it sounds easy to say that, but there's not a whole lot you have to aspire to when you're trying to replicate Heineken and you're Heineken. You know,
I'm going to disagree,
if you know how
though.
to make Heineken, I think it's easier for you to make a non-alcoholic version of that than...
As someone who's tried O'Doul's, which is from AB InBev, who's tried Sharps, which is from Coors, I've had Old Milwaukee NA, I've had a bunch of NA versions of regular macro beers. They don't taste like the regular version. They taste noticeably worse, noticeably sweeter and unfinished. And Heineken 0.0 tastes like a real beer. Like it is an achievement, and every other biggest, most experienced brewery in the world has been doing the same shit, and they're not pulling it off.
I haven't explored as many as you have, Jason, but I would definitely agree. Out of everything that I have had, I would go back to the Heineken 0.0 almost any day. But to your point, too, I as far as I understand, like brewing an NA beer is actually not easy.
No, and I'm not trying to say it's easy. I just think if you're Heineken and you know how to make Heineken, it's probably a lot easier for you to make an NA version of that beer than if you're a brewery that's just going to try to make an NA version of IPA. Like it's such a broad, there's certain guidelines and criteria you have to meet to make that style of beer, but it's so up for interpretation that it's you could have a regular IPA that is horrible, but some people might like it. And then you try to make a non-alcoholic version of that. It just makes it that much harder. So that's what I meant by saying it's easier to make a beer like Heineken, just because there's not a whole lot to it anyway, but it's also very nuanced and like delicate. You still have to know what you're doing. I didn't want to make it sound like, yeah, I can make an NA version of Heineken because I can't. But I just think it's an easier goal or an easier target to hit than chocolate milk stout that doesn't have alcohol in it.
I would chalk it up to the style, like probably similar to what you're saying there, is certain styles. Like Heineken in general is a pretty crisp, pretty unassuming style of beer in general.
It's boring.
Same with this. Well, with this Mikkeller, with this wheat ale, like that's probably so far I think the best out of my three here, because making a nice, light, refreshing, crisp wheat ale with a little bit of like hop character just to give you that beer sensation, I think is really lends itself to that area, as opposed to trying to make an imperial IPA, NA. Like at that point, the IPAs rely, I think, on characteristics of the alcohol to kind of make it what it is. Whereas if you try and like downplay that, you're just going to get sugary hop water. And I would also just point out really quick. I would also just say really quick that like, I would also take some hop water as well. I mean, that would probably getting some like the H2 hops. That's the only one I think I've had, but like that would satisfy my IPA hop craving more than say an NA IPA.
Yeah, the hop water at least isn't trying to make it like, oh, we got to add a bunch of malt flavor in here. You're like, no, you don't. You can leave it dry.
I think. Well, that's why Tim.
I just want my hops, man.
That's why I asked you, Tim, about the body on that, because it's a wheat beer. Like, yeah, you're gonna get some, citrus character from it. It's gonna be very light and it's gonna have some flavor to it. But the only thing that I think would suffer for a wheat beer not having alcohol in it is the body, because alcohol does add body. And so that's why I couldn't think of anything else like to ask your opinion on, because it's kind of a basic beer. And I think that's a perfect beer to make non-alcoholic, because, the only thing that's really going to suffer, I think, is the body. And you got to balance, that lack of body with carbonation. Like, you don't want to overcarb it, so it's spritzy and like it stings when you drink it. You don't want it to be like a hard seltzer. Well, I guess hard is hard. Yeah. I don't know if that's more carbonated than most. I think it might be, but yeah, it's an easy style. Or it's one of the easier styles, I think, to remove the alcohol from. And IPA, if a brewery can pull that off, like taking the alcohol out of an IPA and it still tastes like an IPA, then that's kind of incredible. But I still don't think it's going to happen.
That's $1 million idea when some brewery finally pulls it off.
Exactly.
A lot of people are trying, and I don't know.
I do really quick just.
Really
quick just want to follow up with the Bravos. Kind of, I realize like I crapped a bit on this IPA, but I have had their coffee stout, and that one was actually, I think, pretty solid. It definitely was a bit on the like watery side because you didn't have the body from the alcohol, but it hit that like roasty coffee flavor profile really well without being overly sweet. So I want to give them props on that one for sure, because I had that one and I liked it quite a bit.
I was just busting their balls with their proprietary brewing technique where you'll never know. It's like to make a statement like that, like I get it. You want to be confident and, have pride in your product, but maybe tone it down a little bit, because
Calgon, ancient Chinese secret, huh?
Going back to my beer, again, this is a tart ale made with mango, peach, coconut, vanilla, and lactose. It sounds like it's going to be like a milkshake beer, and it's not. It's actually, as far as like the acidic bite goes, it's perfect for me. It has like as much bite as like if you were eating peaches and oranges. It's just got enough there to make it really nice and prickly and kind of clean up very well. As far as lactose goes, I don't know. Maybe I guess the lactose is just there to give it more body and some added sweetness. I don't get any of like. Well, when I think lactose, I think of vanilla, but this has vanilla in it. So I think the combination of lactose and vanilla, it would just be over the top with vanilla, and it really isn't. It's pretty much just, it's really fruity and really drinkable, and it's got kind of that hop smear kind of thing with all the fruit in there. It's got so much fruit that you really can't pick out one in particular. I think if anything does stand out, it would probably be the peach. But I don't really get a whole lot of the coconut and the mango and the vanilla. They just kind of work well together. But I think that's a good thing, because if you have that many fruits and flavors going on in beer, it could probably get to be very overwhelming and kind of gross. And I think they found a nice balance between all the different fruits and additions they made in this. So it's really good.
I have a good beer finally, you guys. It's been a while, but I have a good one now. So I have one of my LA Ale Works beers that I had from my trip out there a couple weeks ago. It is Lunar Kitten. It has this adorable little astronaut cat on the can.
Oh, it's so cute.
Not me, this. And it has a pretty funny little pun-filled description. Lunar Kitten, West Coast IPA, destination Meowter Space. It is all Simcoe, perfectly crushable with just the right amount of catitude. Clawsome notes of Simcoe, the most feline of hops, with tales of dankness. Who loves kitty? Please. Yeah.
Polly.
That is so good.
It really tickled me. I don't know. It was fun. And it's great. It's clear. It's actually crisp and has a defined hop character.
Speaking of pause, I don't know if you follow Afro Beer Chick on Twitter. She posted this morning that she's so fed up with cops that she can't even watch Paw Patrol. Like, so we should cancel. We got to cancel Paw Patrol.
Yeah, there's some movement now against that.
Well, I responded with hashtag defund the police.
Oh God!
I felt so proud of myself. It got 3 likes so far, so I'm pretty happy.
Like Paw Patrol being cops like have been going on for years. Actually, The Onion has had a lot of really good like Paw Patrol articles. Like let me see. I'm gonna Google one of the best headlines.
While you do that, I'm going to switch it up a little bit and join John on the fruit train with boom. Orange Drank. It's coming from the Brewing Project with a K.
I don't think I've ever heard of them.
I think we had them before, but it's an Imperial Kettle Sour. They call it a malt beverage with mandarin, orange, and marshmallow flavor. The description that I found says sour with orange, mandarin, and tangerine puree. So this is going back into the land of, I believe, 8% ABV.
So if you want to do the math, you're having like you've had all these. Well, you're having an 8% beer because the other ones had no alcohol. So just forget what I said.
So the headline I found is Paw Patrol writers defend episode where German Shepherd cop shoots unarmed black lab 17 times in back.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Should note this is The Onion. This is The Onion. It is from The Onion.
Like if they don't understand that, they deserve what they get.
Let's see. I really want this to come out super orange, but I doubt it will. Oh.
Yeah, that looks it looks very thick. Like Sunny D.
Damn.
I mean, it's kind of like a mix between it looks frothy, I'll tell you that much.
Oh my god, it's orange cream. That's what it is. The marshmallow and the oranges.
Like a creamsicle?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting off of this. 100%.
Okay, yeah, like orange and vanilla. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it say on your glass?
Making beer disappear is my superpower.
Nice. Well played.
Along with my cheers.
So, how's it smell? How's it taste?
Well, as now that John's back, the smell is straight up. The vanilla mixed with the mandarin is straight up like orange creamsicle. So that's what I'm getting right off the top. It's definitely sweet, citrusy. It's right in there. It's exactly what like eating one of those the popsicle on the outside, cream on the inside.
Do you guys like creamsicles?
I do.
It took me a while. As a kid, I did not, but as I got older, I liked them.
Maybe I'll have to retry one. I feel like in my head, I'm like creamsicles are gross.
Yeah, like growing up, I was like, I just want a popsicle or I want an ice cream. I don't want both because it's weird. And I was weird with like textural foods, but now I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice together.
So I opened up another beer. This is from Black Project out of Colorado, I believe.
Are they another project with a K? I think they actually are.
Yes, they are from Denver, Colorado. They're not Project with a K, they are Project with a C.
Okay.
And we've had them on the show before. If you don't recognize the can, it's the brewery that they use paper airplanes on everything. That's the can right there. It's brown with like copper paper airplanes on it.
They had that red wine beer that was one of the best sour beers I've had, like,
Yes.
period.
And just to remind people, this brewery used to be called Former Future Brewing Company, and Black Project was like a side project that the brewer had for their sour stuff. And Black Project got so popular that I think they just phased out Former Future. So now they're just Black Project. This is a sour wheat ale with pineapple and pomegranate, which you don't see pomegranate a lot in beers. I'm not a big fan of sour beers or wild ales in general, but seeing that this was made with pineapple and pomegranate, I think pineapple works very well in sour beers. I think it's an excellent fruit to use in sours, along with peaches. But the pomegranate like threw me for a loop. So, and the name of this beer is Kipper, Kipper. So
That's cool.
yeah, it doesn't come off very acidic on the nose. It almost comes off a little like biscuity, a little bit of that pineapple comes through, kind of like an upside down cake, like a pineapple upside down cake. That's what I get on the aroma, like kind of like a cakey, biscuity pineapple fruit nose on it. It smells fantastic. It smells actually pretty refreshing. I'm not sure I've ever smelled pomegranate. I guess I could have some pomegranate juice to see what that smells like, but I don't eat a whole lot of pomegranate things. So again, it just seems like an odd addition to make to a beer, but I'm going to trust them.
I know pomegranate sounds like it could be good.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to like. I remember when I used to have like the palm juice that was really good, and like pomegranate flavored like lemonade and stuff is usually pretty solid. And yeah, I'll agree with Hop Delay. Like Black Project is solid. Although I will say that the several that I've had, which I believe have all gotten from Tavour, have all been very acidic sours, like straight up like super bitey.
Yeah, the beer we had that Jason mentioned, it wasn't really. I don't remember it being very, very tart.
It was very wine forward. It was a wine beer hybrid, and it was it was super good though. It was like a Tempranillo grapes, I believe. Really, really good.
This tastes fantastic. It's again, it's a sour wheat ale. You can taste that it's a wheat beer. You do get a little bit of a tart bite on there. It's exactly what I would want from a sour wheat beer, but it's definitely more malt forward. It's got a ton of body on it. Great mouthfeel. The carbonation, you know, as far as how it works with the body, I think is spot on. It's enough to clean everything up, and that pineapple comes through very well. Pomegranate, I guess it's coming through too, but I'm not familiar enough with pomegranate. I never drank a lot of pomegranate juice, so maybe if I did, I could pick it out more.
It's kind of in the realm of cranberry, I would say, flavor wise. Somewhere in that,
okay,
kind of a tart, little bit more tart.
I can kind of see that because it's not quite pure pineapple. It's like pineapple with something else on the back end, and that's probably what it is.
Or Savvy Beard says grenadine, which is biggest pomegranate taste.
Again, when's the last time I had grenadine?
I hate drinks with grenadine in them, actually. They're like my least favorite.
But I would definitely buy this again, especially being 4.6% alcohol. Like, this is so crushable. It's so refreshing. If this were like 5 or 6 degrees cooler, if this were like ice cold, man, this is a summer sipper, dude. This is excellent.
That's awesome.
Black Project, man, like you can't really go wrong buying their beer. I mean, I guess they're gonna have some that are like super tart that cater to some people that I probably won't like, but I mean, that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just something I don't want to drink. So
they're pretty much a home run hitter. So yeah, they're great.
Yeah, this is fantastic. If you see this beer, oh boy.
So this orange drink, it's drinking just like a slightly sweeter oh my god, Sunny D. So it's drinking like Sunny D, but with a little bit of a bite and definitely a bit sweeter. So it's right up there. It's really, really tasty.
We've got all of the fake drinks. We've got Yoo-Hoo, we've got Sunny D. We're going back to a very artificially flavored childhood right now.
How's the alcohol like it boozy? Is it like, can you take
No, I mean I'm not really getting a hint. It's mostly just orange with
Okay.
a little bit of bitterness after after you wash it down. It leaves a little bit of that sort of bitter hop flavor going on, but not. I don't want to say hop flavor, but it leaves a little bit of bitterness. But the straight up in the beginning is very much like Mandarin Sunny D, with like added sweetness. Like it's one of those things where like they described it pretty well.
Yeah, this is an Imperial Kettle Sour, so it sounds like it's got the same amount of tartness that you get from like a Sunny D, because you're not really. Sounds like you're not really picking it up all that much, which is right up my alley.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it in like my jowls or like the back of my mouth or anything. Like there's no pucker. There was nothing off the top that really was like just like I've had acid bombs and like sour things, and usually get that like the tingle or the drool. And I'm not getting that from this. This is just, it's really easy. It's pretty crushable. And
my second album was called Acid Bombs and Sour Things.
Yeah, it sounds like overall, between Tim's orange drink and this black project, maybe these breweries are thinking, we can start using this kettle sour technique more as like an accent rather than like, this is a sour beer and here's a bunch of other shit. Like, so you're not like battling through it. It's more of like, okay, you're going to pick up a little bit of a tartness on this. You're going to pick up a little bit of acid on the nose, and it's still going to be a beer though that is pretty quaffable.
So this is the part of the show where I think we need to figure out, what are we going to drink next week?
What are we going to drink? Well,
we're in real time now. We're not banking shows. So, what are we going to drink? Anybody who's in the video, which is a few of you. I think I've seen Kyle in the Discord. I've seen Savvy Beard and Chew Your Beer and Hopped LA chiming in there. What should we drink next week, you guys? What can we go get?
Hopefully something we can actually get.
This is post show at this point, so I think I'm going to end the show with my little statement there. So
okay, yeah.
You can stop recording if you want.
Okay. Kyle says homebrew. I'm not going to homebrew, Kyle. I swear to God.
We'll drink homebrew,
right,
Kyle, if you want to bring us homebrew.
Since we're post show, I'll be back in 1 sec.
All right.
Lorenzini says Dogfish Head. That's kind of where I'm at with it too.
Dogfish Head Showdown. Oh my God. Showdown with what? Which beer is the oldest?
Yeah, who found the oldest 60-minute? They're local.
Kyle says he can supply homebrew cans.
It's tricky either way because we have to get it to 4 different locations in 4 different counties, by the way. We are all in a different county.
And Tim's probably the hardest to get beer to because he's so deep on the west side. Like
west side? How about a larger brewery?
I mean, yeah. Okay. Suggestions. I mean,
what if we did? Who's a brewery we've never really fucked with is Boulevard. We've had a couple of their beers, but not a lot, and they're pretty available.
Their stuff's pretty easy to get. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed.
We were just thinking maybe focusing on like a bigger brewery that we can all get our hands on, like Boulevard.
Because we've done Dogfish Show, we've done Sierra Nevada Show, we've done a New Belgium show, I'm pretty sure. And they're always a letdown.
The thing with buying Boulevard, though, is I doubt I can get individuals. I mean, it depends. Again, it's not just for me, but for all of us. So if we're going to do 4 Boulevard beers, we have to buy like 4 6-packs, which isn't necessarily a deal breaker, but it's just a lot of
Kyle coming in with Modern Times. There's a wide range of shit we can get from Modern Times. I have some league beers that I could open up. That would be good. Modern Times. I know
Yeah,
we
it's
feature
pretty
them a
easy to
lot,
get.
but people like them. Savvy Beard asks us to revisit Brewdog. We actually mentioned earlier in the show we cannot get their beer here, and also I keep seeing objectionable things about them. So, or Lorenzini says gas station Tallboy Showdown. No joke. I'm going to keep that in the bank, but not next week. Like just one of these days, it's like all of us go to the gas station and get whatever we can get.
Yes,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty fun.
Just all Golden Road,
Golden Road, and,
Golden Road, and
Steel Reserve.
But I like Modern Times. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Let me go to their website. Let's see here. Because they're still shipping beer.
I mean, I can go to the store and get it.
I know, but if there's something special we want to get, that's what I'm saying. Let's see.
If we're done recording, I'm turning the fucking fan on.
Go for it.
Beer shipped to your door. Local delivery in Portland and Los Angeles. How local?
So they had a mixed pack, which was... What was that? I think I've had that. Dinosaur World, Blooming Rollers, and Words of Radiance. I haven't had Words of Radiance. Then they have the standard OG collection.
For some reason, when I hear Words of Radiance, I think of Return to Innocence, that fucking Enya song. So it's just like I hear Words of Radiance, and then immediately I'm like, oh
yeah. They have Fruitland's Mai Tai edition. No, thank you.
I can get local delivery.
You can
yeah,
in
you're probably
LA?
close enough to LA, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they come out. Their delivery cuts right down Venice Boulevard, so I'm just north of their cutoff line, which is nice.
Well, if you're gonna get local delivery, let's see what's special.
Oh wait,
enough.
maybe not. Hold on. Why do they only have delivery in PDX right here? Stupid.
Yeah,
Wait, that makes no sense.
The only thing that I mean, that's sold out.
Yeah, all their good shipped beer is sold out. I'm looking at their website right now.
The double dry hopped Orderville. Oh, I should have got some of that. Orderville's so good.
Maybe not. It looks like maybe they stopped LA delivery. Oh well. Or they're out of everything.
They are shipping crowlers too. You can get, let's see, is it two of the same? It's got to be two individual stouts. Or is it just their stout? What?
If you click through, they show like
Options.
Yeah, they show which beers it is. The hazy one is two different beers at least.
Okay, Dragon Mask Chocolate Churro. Wow. And Cosmic Entity, which is chocolate malts, vegan marshmallow, coconut, and vanilla. Okay. 2 crowlers for $60 shipped. That's a lot of money.
The the non-stouts are much cheaper if you look. The hazies are $30 for 2.
Sour crowlers, 37 for 2. Hazies. Oh yeah, 30. Let's see. What's in the
I'm just gonna go to the goddamn store. So
I was just trying to
pretty
think if we
much.
can get something that's common, but I'm sure we can get common store beers too.
Kyle
Something
is offering member beers too because he has a bunch.
All right, so we settled on that, so I can start reconning where to pick it up.
I think Modern Times would be fun.
Okay,
It's a popular brand. People like it. It'll probably get good attention. It's big enough that everybody, I think, kind of people at least know it that are into the beer world. Locally, we won't have any problem getting it. So I think it's a win-win.
I saw a new Modern Times at La Bodega. I forgot what it was. It was a I believe it was a hazy. Very I think it was like a green, pink, yellow blue, like wormy looking can. I know that sounds weird, but I can't remember the name of the beer. Let's see.
I just messaged them, the DTLA, to see if they're doing local delivery still.
I don't want clothes. I want beer. Beer to go. Show me the beer. Why is it so difficult?
Bump, bottom, bump, bottom, bump. Can we play music or do we get like demonetized or some shit? Well, who cares?
I mean, we don't monetize anyway.
Yeah, we did it.
The only thing that could happen is Twitch will just delete the video, but they're only scanning clips right now because videos are temporary anyway. So, okay, it's because I'm. That's why. Let's see. The beer was Tycho, Tycho. It's a hazy IPA with oh god, Nelson Simcoe and Idaho 7.
That sounds like Modern Times if I ever heard it.
I will post it in our Discord.
I'd drink
What is
it.
that?
If I can find one, I'll drink it.
In the general chat, I posted the link. I saw that at La Bodega when I was there this morning, so I could pick that up. I think Proxima is still... I saw that at the Shitty Chevron station down the street. And that's all that's special. And Tycho just came out... Or Tycho?
Tycho. Come on, dude. Tycho.
I don't know.
Haven't you ever heard of Tycho, the musical artist? I mean, it doesn't look like it's related, but...
No, I haven't heard of Tycho.
Oh.
And that came out in June, so it's probably super fresh. Super fresh.
All right. Well, if we're all set on Modern Times, and I will start finding some stuff. I'll let you know if I find anything specific, or if I get anything from the delivery.
Okie dokie.
Otherwise, I think we're good. I'll try and get this file uploaded. I think I still have the link.
Where'd Jason go?
Oh, I was messing with my cam.
You getting naked?
I pulled my dick and balls out, yeah.
Oh, jeez. On that note, I'll see you guys next week.
Bye, Tim.
later, Tim.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna jump. But you guys, good show. Thanks for hanging, and let me know if you guys find anything specific. Obviously, I'll see it in the chat.
I would say try to find the Tycho, and
Okay.
beyond that, it's whatever.
Okay, sounds good.
Or maybe like Ice. I don't know. Ice is probably a good starter beer, and that's pretty easy to find too.
It's one of the standards I think people mostly have.
So if we can have Ice and Tycho, and then 2 of whatever else.
Okay,
I think that would
I'll
be
see
good.
what I can do. All right,
All right.
guys. Take
Bye.
it easy. See ya.
Does my camera look less blown out now?
Yes.
I just like fucked with the drivers and updated them, and it seems like everything's looking a little better.
What's it's a Logitech camera, right?
Yeah, it's a C920, which is like one of the better ones. So
it's less blown out. I think Logitech, their software actually has built-in stuff for editing the camera.
And so I just installed that. I've been running it off the like default Windows driver.
Mm-hmm.
So I just installed Logitech shit, and it seems like it's better. Because, yeah, I just blew up a bright window, which would normally like blow my face way out. And it's not that bad. It's bright, but... Oh, that's better.
Let's see. I think I even have it on the PC. Logitech Options. I think that's probably for the keyboard. Let's see here. It wants me to install an update. Did you install, Jason? Well, apparently you did because you were still live. I'm going to install this update and see what happens.
All right.
Oh, it's for my keyboard. What I thought. No, I don't want to install. Should I? I'll wait till later.
I'm fucking with like autofocus and shit to see how it's working.
Oh, so you do have that app then?
Yeah, the Logitech webcam controller app.
Okay. And you can't adjust like the exposure or anything?
Not really. There is an advanced settings. Yeah, there's exposure, gain, all this stuff.
Turn exposure down.
It's on like an auto mode. Let me try.
There you
go.
Dude, that turned everything down. You actually look normal now.
Oh yeah, huh? They have a feature called Right Light. Apparently, is what's blowing all this shit out.
Whatever you just did, now you look normal.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah.
Huh. What about this white balance feature? Let's try this. It had auto white balance on.
What? Okay. Because I saw it go like more warm.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that with auto on or off?
I was just fucking with it.
Because you could be a little warmer.
Kind of like how that looks. It definitely looks a lot more normal now, for sure.
So that's how I look with all of my studio like lighting lights on, which doesn't look that different, but when I turn them off, turn the recording lights off.
Savvy saying he liked the Jason of Xmas Past that came up in there. I'm Marley and Marley. Whoa! That helps though. It looks way more natural than it did before.
As long as you're not blown out, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the background looks a little bit yellowy, but I'm not super worried about the background.
Later on, Savvy Beard. Yeah, this Black Project beer is really good. Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Savvy Beard. Dude, that Pabst beer like fucking is just lingering in my throat. I've been clearing my throat like every 10 seconds. I'm just like that Yoo-hoo shit is just like I'm just like
It's exactly what I thought it would be. It's just
goddamn
milky chocolate like garbage.
That's gonna be my new fucking forum's name.
Milky chocolate garbage.
Yeah, it's me. It's your boy, Milky Chocolate Garbage. Dude, I'm glad I got the camera dialed in a little. It's way better. Like I said, I don't look all blown out just in the monitor light.
I was thinking about hooking up my Canon T2i DSLR to the computer because it will help, and it's like fully manual. And I have there's like special software you can install on older cameras called Magic Lantern that gives you full control over it and allows you to do things that Canon won't let you do by default. One of which is if you plug a HDMI cable into the camera to display it on an external display, it removes all the overlays. And Canon does it on like, I think from the 5D Mark III up. And then for like the 5D Mark IV, you can actually use their USB interface to use it as a webcam. But the 5D Mark III overheats pretty quickly. Like I think it'll shut off in like 12 minutes. But the T2i, I've left it on accidentally all night. And I'm like, oh shit. And it's still fine. But
That's good.
it's the first camera I bought for New Brew Thursday, so it's I guess 10 years old at this point, almost. No, yeah, 10 years old. 2008 or 9 is when I got it. So, but it's a pain to set up, and I'd have to like use another HDMI to USB converter, like a cam link, and it's just easier to use a USB camera. And I'm so small on the frame as it is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, your video looks really good. Honestly, like it was funny watching when Matt came in because he was using just like whatever the bullshit laptop, or I think it was his phone.
No, it was his MacBook, and the MacBooks still have I think 480p cameras or 720 at best.
Yeah, it looked like Garbo. Like comparatively, you're like, oh, ours look way better. Like we look. Like, again, I've mentioned this before, but our video audio quality is still higher than, like, network television shows.
I know.
Which is as much of a commendation of us as it is a condemnation of them. Like, do better. Millions of people watch your shit.
Like I said, dude, like, these studios have money, and... You know, I understand like this all happened at the last minute and it's like, okay, don't come to work tomorrow, but send them home with some stuff, you know, like just to get them, like you tell I don't know, whoever's in charge of that, like, look, can we scrounge something together to give Seth Meyers so he has somewhere to begin and then we'll tell him how to set it all up at a later date. And they never did that. I mean, over the last few weeks, now he wears a lav and they sent him a ring light and his lighting looks better. And I think he's still recording on his phone, but it's still like they're still doing the bare minimum when they could just do so much better. And we already talked about this. Like it's probably intentional. They want to make the at-home shows look like they're coming from their homes. So the quality is supposed to be less, but it doesn't have to be. It's not that difficult to have really good. I mean, look at YouTube. All these YouTubers,
right?
like especially tech YouTubers that like MKBHD, I know it's overkill, but using his Red cameras to record all of his videos in 8K, like something that's doable. And these studios have way more money than he has. Like they can easily pull off something.
I think the big part is figuring out how to like get the equipment set up and working in like random celebrities' home too. Like you can have as cool of a system as you want, right? But if you can't send like a professional video tech to go set up someone's house, then you just got to kind of deal with like, okay, there was a thing, Ted Danson was on the Conan O'Brien show, and they did like B-roll of him working with their like producers to set up all the stuff. And they just do it like tech support style. They're like, all right, yeah, like install this app, like now go to this setting and change this and all that. And there's only so much you can do if you're like, again, trying to coach Ted Danson and how to do it.
Right. If you're not tech savvy, I get there is a level of difficulty more than like, you know, if you're The Verge and you have to go home and start making videos from home. But even like The Verge, you have video producers that were like walking Dieter Bohn through his setup and like telling him, look, you got to make sure all of your, you know, your lines are straight. Like you don't want to be shooting at your table, but your table is slanted in the frame. You want to make sure everything's perfectly straight and looks symmetrical and looks nice. And then like he did a whole video with his closet door open. And like they were just like, dude, close your fucking closet. Like, what are you doing? And it's just little things like that. But like they had one of the producers on like a FaceTime call. She's looking at the screen of the camera and she's like, okay, move it up just a little bit. And he'd move it like, no, that's too far. Okay, now it's crooked. And it took him like a half hour to set everything up right. But that's their job. And that's what they would be doing in person anyway. So I'm sure that did happen with people like Seth Meyers. And I haven't watched any other late night show. His is the only one I watch. I think Jimmy Kimmel's is the one that looks the best out of all of them and sounds the best. Seth Meyers, again, like he'll do all of his like his monologue and everything else like with a good mic. But then when he has like an interview, it's just the default camera mic or phone mic. And that's what you get. And usually the guest mic is better than his mic, because they're on a computer and they're closer to the microphone and they sound better. I'm just like, why don't you just take the audio from his lav and dub that on top of the audio? Like I do this all the time. It's just how you do it. It's not that difficult, but I don't understand. Like tell him to record that audio too. And then have your your editors make it all happen. But I don't know.
Well, at least our show sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
I'm so excited that my camera's not blown out anymore. It was that goddamn right light setting. They call the feature right light in capital R, capital L, right light. And it was just blowing everything out. It was turning everything way up.
That's weird because that's wrong light.
Yeah, I guess it's like, oh, you're a little bit too dim. Let me brighten you up. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm not actually. This is how pink I normally am. All right, my dude. Ready to wrap it up?
Yep. I'm going to get out of here.
Good ep. Fun times. Modern times next week.
Thank you to everyone in the chat and the live stream for hanging out. And we'll see you next week.
Till the next episode.
Later.